Right, hello lads and lasses, and welcome back to Boys Down Under. And today, for the first time in like over a month, we have a transfer video. That's right, a transfer type video at the beginning of October. Who would have thought that? Not me, not anyone else, but it's here because the international break is here and there's literally nothing else to talk about. But we have got a reason to talk about the transfer window now. So, recently, Ange Postecoglou made some comments on identifying targets for Celtic already for the January transfer window. And personally, for a couple of reasons, which I'll get into later, I feel these targets hail directly from the J-League, which is the Japanese league, which is where Kyogo came from. Before we get into the video though, please remember to subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, so anything helps. Please remember to subscribe and thank you very much. But without further ado, let's get into it. So due to the recent comments made by Ange about them, identifying targets already for the January transfer window, look, it's going to be Japan. The J-League enters their final series in Japan in January, like the end of January, the start of January is the end of their final series. So realistically, it's pretty much their off season. So there isn't actually a better time for anyone to sign players from that market until then. And look, honestly, I think it's the perfect window for Celtic to sign players from the Japanese league. And I think Ange will 100% delve back into that market due to the recent, I guess you could say, how quickly Kyogo has settled into not only a foreign country and a foreign team, but into foreign style of football, because we all know the Scottish football is a lot different to how they play in Japan. So the transition Kyogo has made has been absolutely tremendous, and I think that's all the proof Ange needs to know that he can go back into that market and bring players over, and they will impress for both the fans and the club. And look, I think today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about, I think, 4 key positions which I feel Celtic need reinforcement in, or could look at getting some more depth into those positions. And each player is going to come from the Japanese league purely because why not? And honestly, they've got some talent there. And if you bear with me and watch till the end of the video, you'll hear about each player I'm talking about. So let's get into it, I guess. So the first position, and one I think Celtic still should be looking at, is left back. Now, the left back spot currently is occupied by Adam Montgomery. Adam Montgomery is in the left back spot. You've also got Bolingoli, Liam Scales, who could play that position, and also Greg Taylor, but Greg Taylor is currently out injured. Now, Liam Scales isn't getting much of a go. Bolingoli looks like this is his last year at Celtic, so that's going to leave us a bit lacking at the back now. And so, who have I identified? Well, I've identified Japanese left back Katsuya Nagato. Now, he's 26 years old, and I've covered him before in a video a while back. It was about something like who could Celtic sign for reinforcement in positions, blah, blah, blah. And I'm still sticking on this guy because he is a great attacking and defensive wing back. Now, he currently plays for Kashima Antlers. They're sitting around 6th in the J-League, so they will probably play the finals football there. Now, his biggest assets are his pinpoint crosses into the box. That's something I talked about as well earlier. That's what lacks, I think, in a lot of our wingbacks games, especially Greg Taylor and Adam Montgomery. They can't really put a quality cross into the box. And look, he's played 126 games in total in his career. This season, he's got 26 appearances with 1 goal and 4 assists. And look, playing at left back, he suits Ange's playstyle because he can get forward, he can tuck in, and he can also track back pretty quickly. So I don't see why he wouldn't suit Ange. I think this could definitely be a deal we could look at further. And according to Transfer Market, which is the German website, he's only worth £800,000. Obviously, Celtic would probably have to pay a bit more than that, but still, Celtic are 100% not breaking the bank for a player of this quality. And I think this could certainly be one to look at for the future. The second position, however, and I think this is the position I think Celtic need to get a player for in January. I think this is at all costs is this the position, and it's the attacking midfield spot. It is Tommy Rogic's spot, and if it's not Tommy Rogic's spot, whose is it? Because honestly, David Turnbull, he's a great player, great going forward, but at Cam, he just isn't it. I think he definitely suits the box-to-box role a lot more, and Celtic don't really have a backup for the Cam spot, so I guess we definitely need to reinforce that because we know how injury-prone Rogic can be and the fitness issues he can show. So I think, and I know, we need a new Cam or a backup Cam in the January window. So I have identified look, I'm going to get this very wrong, so don't hate me in the comments for this, but so Tsukasa Morishima is a 24-year-old attacking midfielder, currently contracted to and playing for San Francisco Hiroshima, and he is a player who from what I've seen in his highlights reels, he can definitely put pressure on Rogic's position. Look, he's only got this so far in 27 appearances this season, 1 goal and 3 assists. I don't think that's much more than Rogic has, to be fair, but a lot of his opportunities actually get wasted. A lot of his opportunities, he plays great balls through. He's got a really good through ball on him, but his strikers just can't finish their dinner. Honestly, it's really poor. It's great. It's sad to see because the highlight reels are full of, his great passes, but those passes never lead to assists, which make his stats look bad. But if you watch him, he isn't a bad player. So the stats don't show everything. And look, he has, I think something that is actually very indicative, I think that's the word, of the Japanese style of football, is their pressing game is immense. And it shows in the highlight reels of this player of Morishima, when he presses, he can usually win the ball. He's just so quick off the mark, and he can read the game so very well in defense and in a position that's deeper than Kyogo's. It's very handy to have an attacking midfielder who can press, because once they get past the first press of Kyogo, who's there to stop him? It's Rogic, who's a bit slow off the mark, but this player could definitely provide something later into the match when Rogic gets tired, or even put pressure on his jersey to start matches. And look, he's valued at £1.2 million, and it's deservedly so, because at the same time, he's very technically gifted, not as much as Rogic, I'd say, but he still has definitely a degree of talent with the ball at his feet. And look, like I said earlier, Rogic being injury prone, if a long-term injury does occur and Rogic is out, we don't have a good backup. Or if we do, or if we play Turnbull, that stuffs up the rest of the midfield. So Morishima could easily slot into this attacking role and certainly provide something for this team. Now, the third position, and one Celtic could make use of in reinforcing, I think, is the left wing spot. At the moment, Celtic could play Jota, Mikey Johnston, even Monty as a last resort in these positions, and Kyogo as well, I might mention. Jota, obviously a starting winger, will start week in, week out. Should get his deal permanent, I keep saying this nonetheless. Johnston, never fit anymore, so never there to back up. Monty has to play left back nowadays. And look, so that leaves us with the backup as Kyogo, and honestly, if we don't play Kyogo in the middle, what's the point of playing Kyogo at all? That's not to say he's not good on the wing, it's just he's not very damaging there. Now, look, who I've identified from the J-League, he's younger than a lot of players in the team. Actually, no, he's in the mid-range. He's 24 years old. His name is Taisei Miyashiro. So at 24 years old, like I said, he is honestly developing into one of the most damaging attacking left wingers in the Japanese game, and also one of the most damaging players in general in the Japanese league. Look, he's currently on loan at Tokushima Vortis. He's appeared 25 times there, and he has an output of 6 goals and 1 assist, which has seen his market value pretty much double. He went from around 300k to 500k in the space of a couple of months, so you can see his rise in value as both a player and as a player. I don't know what I was going to say at the end of that. And look, honestly, he's such a gun. He's such a gun winger. You look at his highlights, and he's great player. Honestly, Celtic could easily make a play for him, and he might not start at the beginning. Jota might still hold down his position, but he is certainly a player for the future. This kid will be good. Now, the only problem is with this deal, if Celtic were to go for it, as I mentioned, is he is on loan right now at the club he's playing at. And the loan deal officially ends at the official end of the Japanese season, which is the 31st of January. Now, what does that raise an issue for Celtic is that if they wanted to bring this player in earlier, they'd have to pay extras so they could cover the termination of the loan fee. and I'm sure the loan club would want to pay out for that, even though he's not playing anymore. It's a very odd situation, but nonetheless, if Celtic were to sign him, it would have to be in a pre-contract agreement, and he would arrive on the 31st of January, even maybe a few days later. So yeah, this would be a hard deal to complete. He's a great player, but maybe the time is not right for this deal in January. Maybe that's one to look at next season. Anyways, look, it's just an option. I'm not saying any of these transfers are going to happen or they're rumored to happen. They're just options and plays I've identified that might, provide something for this team. And look, now the final position. We've covered the wings, we've covered the midfield, and I am talking about a position which caused a lot of stir in the first transfer window, and I'm sure you guys know what it is. It is the right back spot. Now, currently, Celtic have both Tony Ralston and Josip Juranovic as the two contracted right backs at the club. And right now, Juranovic is injured, which leaves Tony Ralston as the only fit right back. And Ralston is only contracted to the end of this season, I believe. So, if Ange doesn't believe, I think he will, but if he doesn't believe that Tony Ralston is worthy, or the board doesn't want him on another year, then that leaves Celtic with one designated right back in Josip Juranovic. Now, the issue is, if he gets injured, we're stuffed. And if we don't sign a player before the next off-season, and we only know we're going to be down to one right back, it's going to be pandemonium again, trying to bring in a backup or a starting right back. And so, I think if Celtic can plan this pretty well, we could easily sign a right back in the January window, which will cover that spot and any further dilemmas that will happen there. So, in my eyes, the player that I think can solve this issue for Celtic is Miki Yamane. He is one of, if not the most damaging right back in the J League. He's 27 years old, so he's in his prime at the moment. And he has appeared 31 times this season for top of the league team Kowalski Frontale. He's scored twice and assisted 10 times from the right back spot. And that is such a feat, honestly. If that is such a feat. Look, Ralston may have 2 goals this season as well, but he does not have that many assists. And look, if you watch his highlights, you'll see that in defense, amazing player. He's rock solid in defense. He doesn't let anything push him around. And then on attack, he's as good, if not better. He has a technical ability, just sub of a winger. He's very good with his feet, and he is a wide array of passes and crosses. You want to cross from the halfway line? Sure. You want to cross from in line with the D? Sure. You want to drill past a cross goal from the byline? Sure. He can do it all. He's such a great passer and crosser of the ball. He has so many different styles of passing and crossing in his arsenal. He's such an asset to this Kowalski Frontale team, and he's one of the reasons they're top of the league right now. And I think this, out of all the players we've covered, I think this would be the smartest signing for Celtic, and I think he would provide the most impact into this Celtic team if we signed him, because he scored 2 goals as well, so he's an adept finisher. He scores volleys from outside the box, albeit Japanese keepers aren't the tallest, but they're still pretty damn good. They're professional goalkeepers. And look, at £1.1 million, yet again, a bargain, honestly. I feel 3 or 4 years, at 27 years old, Celtic could easily get 3 or 4 solid years out of Yamane. And he should definitely be looked at an option. And honestly, I'd go as far as saying he should be looked at an option even if Ralston isn't contracted for next season, or if he is, regardless of the situation with him, certainly should be looked at for that position. I feel £1.1 million, I think the J League has a lot of bargains in them, and I think this player is one of them. But that is all from me. So hopefully this video, was able to give you a bit of an insight into the Japanese market, what fans could expect if they were to sign players from these leagues. And look, I think honestly, I would put a bet on Celtic signing at least one player from the J League in the January transfer window. It's a pool of diamonds in the roughs. They're not even needles in the haystacks. They're just diamonds in the roughs, hidden gems. No one wants to go to that market in Europe because no one wants to experiment there, but I think Celtic need to take that leap. Pretty much, and I think the proof of Kyogo's settlement into a foreign country, foreign team, foreign footballing style, I think it's proof of how well they adapt to football and adapt to change. So I think Celtic should definitely be taking more risks in these sort of markets. Look, There's more options out there. There's a lot of more players I could have covered, like Ayo Tanaka, a lot of more rising stars in Japan. But for the positions we talked about, these were the best players. So obviously, if you've got any other suggestions, drop them in the comments below. And yeah, that is all from me. So I think during the international window, maybe one video every 2 days. So I guess you'll see me in 2 days. But that is all from me. So remember to subscribe. And until next time, hail, hail.